I feel like they were waiting for me to react a certain way. So the other day I decided to get a very much needed oil change for my car. I don't ever usually go to any specific place. I just usually go to a place that's nearby. And it just so happens that this place was a franchise that does oil changes. I did have to go into work later on in the afternoon, so I decided to just get it out of the way that morning. So I drive up to this place and I line up my car behind a car that's already getting serviced. And an attendant comes in and asks if I'm looking for an oil change. He asks me to turn off my car and leave my key in the ignition, and I'm able to wait inside in the waiting area. It was a pretty warm day in Palm Springs, like in the 90s, so you know, I didn't mind going inside. While I'm inside, I'm chilling on my phone, answering all of the birthday messages that you guys sent me, which thank you very much, by the way. And out of nowhere, I just hear a loud I didn't really think anything of it, you know, there's a lot of noise happening in the service area. Then this attendant rushes into the waiting area and he's like, "Who drives the white Mitsubishi?" And I'm like, "Me?" He's like, "Hey bro, someone just backed up into your car." And I'm like, it would be me, right? As I'm walking out to my car, I see two other attendants standing around it and like 3 customers just gawking. I feel like they were waiting for me to react a certain way. And I see this guy who was driving I think it was a Honda Civic that he was driving, and it literally looks like he's about to cry. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I asked him, you know, hey, like what happened? And he's like, "Oh, did you leave your car parked here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the attendant told me to turn off my car and leave my key in the ignition." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then I look at the damage and looks like he dented a little bit of the driver's side door. It wasn't too bad. And honestly, my car has been through it. I drove her while I was in LA and I was parallel parking everywhere, so I have little bumps and dents all over my car, so it really wasn't a big deal. But I didn't feel too nice to just say, "Oh, it's okay, just don't worry about it," because it was a very noticeable dent. I took pictures of my car, took pictures of his car, took pictures of his license plate. I asked him for his name, and he was very soft-spoken. Like I told you, it looked like he wanted to cry. He would tell me his name, and I'm like, "What?" And then I'm like, "What's your date of birth?" And he's like, and I'm like, and I asked what insurance he had, so I had all this information written down. I'm like, all right, we'll be in contact, no worries. So I go back inside and everyone in the waiting room is waiting to see how I'm gonna react and what I'm gonna say. People are so nosy, like mind your own business, jeez. Nah, but this lady was really nice. She was just very concerned and asked if everyone was okay and how we were gonna handle it. And she started giving me all this advice on what I should do and try and get something out of the company. I'm like, it's not really necessary. I mean, it wasn't the company's fault. My car was very visible. The other guy just wasn't paying attention when he was backing up. When it came time to pay for my oil change, the guy felt bad. He's like, "Oh, I'll give you a $20-something discount, blah, blah, blah. Sorry this happened." I'm like, all right, sure. Should have just given it to me for free. I should have asked, but later on in the day, right before I was getting ready for work, I ended up texting this guy and I was like, "So how do you want to go about this? Do you want to go through your insurance or do you just want to pay me out?" Most car insurances have a deductible of $500, and this little fender bender was not $500. I could probably get that fixed for like half the price. I offered for him to just pay me out, and he did. He Zelled me money like 2 hours later and we left it at that. I did feel kind of bad. Like I texted him, "Thanks and I'm sorry this happened," and he never texted me back. He was just probably having a bad day, and it sucks, you know, it sucks, you know, when it's your fault. It is what it is. My car's okay, I'm okay, he's okay, we're all okay. Just another day in the life, I guess. Anyway. How are you guys? I hope you guys are doing good. There's been a lot going on other than work lately. I visited back home and I visited my family. There's news that I'm gonna be an uncle again, so, you know, continuing to add to the family here. Hung out with some friends. I had my friend come over this past weekend. You guys met him. He's been in a couple of my videos. And we went to a pool party, my first pool party here in Palm Springs. It was so much fun. Love SG Lewis. It's like synthy, retro, house pop is my vibe right now. It was also nice to get a little bit of sun. I mean, the heat is coming though. It's like peeking through. We are going to be hitting the 100s very soon. One thing I've been thinking about is my living situation. I want to buy a house, and I don't know if you guys know what's going on with the housing market right now. It sucks. I mean, it's been sucking, but I don't think there's ever a right or wrong time to buy. It's always up to you to know when is the right time for you or not. That made any sense. I've always wanted to have my own place. It doesn't even have to be like a big place, but I want to have like my own little yard and I don't know, possibly a pool. I don't know, but it's something that I've been thinking about. Now, I don't want to necessarily do it right now, but this is the time where I can start planning for it. Oh, and hair update. I said it till it reaches my nipples, and honestly, like, it is right here, my nipple's right here. I got this much to go before I shave all my hair off, so I'm just trying to enjoy this big old mane. But honestly, I feel like I'm gonna be a little sad when I have to let it go. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll continue keeping you guys updated, and I'll see you next week.